Hi, I'm Danny Flexen here with the latest Seconds Out special, looking ahead to the big heavyweight unification clash between Anthony Joshua, who holds the WBA Super and IBF titles, and Joseph Parker, the WBO champion, set for March 31st in Cardiff. Here with Chris Mason. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Danny. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. We're going to look ahead to the fight, talk a bit about who's got the better approach and who's going to come out on top on the night. So, Chris, first of all, how excited are you about this fight?
Yeah, I'm very. It's a rarity. We have a big unification and a genuine unification battle with the heavyweights. It doesn't happen often enough, but we know why. It's all to do with money. But the next 12 months, I think we're going to see a lot. And obviously, we've got the return of Tyson Fury, which is always exciting.
How much respect then, as you said, we don't see these unification fights enough, how much respect in that case do you give to Joseph Parker for not only taking the fight but also coming over to what is relative home advantage for AJ?
Yeah, I think it's a big move. I think he could have made some decent money elsewhere, just sort of mopping up anybody inside the top 15, I think the stipulation is. And there was plenty of fodder there, really, that he could have knocked over and probably had 3 or 4 more fights, comfortable fights, building up his platform even further and his resume, and then took this fight. But I think with heavyweight boxing, I think everybody's aware that you're only one punch away from disaster. And if this opportunity could have gone, if AJ, in heavyweight boxing we know, one punch over, he could have fought somebody else, big disaster happens, his payday's gone. But in credit to him, he's facing probably the most ferocious puncher in the division. I know everybody thinks Wilder's this, Superman in terms of punching. He's unorthodox. He obviously got some punch, but with AJ, I think is concussive, and it's a big risk.
I think there might be an element also that they've both seen weaknesses in the other from their last performances. I think AJ laboured to an extent before getting Carlos Takam out of there. I think also Joseph Parker was obviously in a bit of a snooze fest, unfortunately, against
Huey,
who put forth a good effort. So I think maybe they've both seen frailties in each other based on those performances, and they've made them step up to the mark.
Yeah, I think Team Parker has got to be disappointed with that, although they won the vacant title. I think they've got to be disappointed with that performance because Huey put up very little resistance. He sort of plodded forward. Most people are giving Parker a chance because of his movement, his mobility. Well, in that fight, he didn't create angles with Huey Fury, who kept plodding forward, not with much ambition, but just, in straight lines. You would expect someone like Parker to have, moved around him or manoeuvred him into a position and knocked him out. But and again, people are saying, Parker's got a chance because of power. He's had far too many fights that have gone the distance, where he's had opportunities, not against guys with great chins either. So that's another worry. But ultimately, my big fear is, were they just bad nights at the office, and is he going to come out and prove his worth against AJ, who himself is pretty straight up and down?
I mean, inarguably, the biggest scalp on either of their records is Vladimir Klitschko, who AJ beat in that stirring night at Wembley Stadium. You look at someone like Parker, and he won the vacant title, as you alluded to, against Andy Ruiz. And
he struggled. That was a debatable fight.
And struggled again against Huey Fury. You look at AJ, he's dealt with those sort of fringe contenders when he has fought them quite well.
Through adversity.
Yeah. Dillian Whyte obviously wobbled famously. Yep. And more recently, Klitschko got off the deck to win. He's got the greater pedigree going in, both as an amateur and as a pro, I'd say.
Yeah, I believe him when he says in his countless interviews about that he's a warrior and he refuses to lose. I do believe him. I do believe he's got fragilities. I don't think he's got a great chin. I think that's proven. We all are aware about the gym stories and the myths and legends. But it's no secret. Parker basically got this fight on the basis of the fact that we don't think you've got a very good chin and we're going to come and knock you out. I think it's going to be tough for them. I think he does go over, but he showed that when he's up against it, he will get up off the floor. And he didn't just get up off the floor and beat a Dillian Whyte or an opponent like that. One of the most dominant champions in the past 10, 15 years. And then he didn't just beat him; he put him away. Not many. We know he's been over before, Corey Sanders. But Corey Sanders is a serious puncher.
He was.
So yeah, I think it all points to. For me, I think AJ will take a bit of time to work him out. I think the speed of Parker, and I think the fact that he knows he has to be mobile. You can't knock somebody out if they don't want to get engaged and be knocked out. So yeah, I think it's going to take him maybe 5 or 6 rounds, and I think eventually AJ will get to him and land clean, and then we'll find out how good these Joseph Parker whiskers are.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, theoretically speaking, there's two ways to beat AJ. I think you can take it to him, overpower him. We'll call that the Wilder method.
Yeah.
For now, or you can stay on the perimeter, outwork him, make your shots count. The Tyson Fury method, you might say. What sort of approach do you expect from Parker? Would it be one of these or a mixture of the two?
I don't think he's got long enough levers to go the Tyson Fury or the skill set. I think they're both fairly limited. I don't think either of them have got tremendous ring craft.
Agreed.
Tyson Fury comes under a lot of stick, but unfortunately more for what he says than what he does in the ring, because ultimately he is a technician. I think he's not as powerful as Joshua. He's not as fit as Joshua. He obviously doesn't punch as hard as Joshua, but he has genuine ring craft, and I think that would frustrate and probably tire AJ when they do meet. Ultimately, they will be
hitting thin air.
Yeah, because he's so long and he moves well. I mean, he's good on his feet, Fury. Where for me, we've seen AJ exposed at times. Ultimately, he's won all of his fights and won them all by knockouts, but there has been moments people have had spots against him. Takam had spots against him. Dillian Whyte had spots against him. Klitschko had spots against him. And apart from Klitschko, these aren't high-level operators. And that's got to give. And Parker's been with AJ, with Fury, hasn't he? He's been sparring with him. I know totally different styles, but they would hand over a little bit of their wisdom to Parker and say, listen, move him that direction. Try and manoeuvre him around so you take that strength. You take that right hand away from him.
To stop him from getting set.
Exactly. If you don't let him set, if you don't set on his feet, he's still going to punch hard, but you're not going to get knocked out.
Is Parker fit enough to adopt that strategy for 12 rounds? Can he move laterally?
Well, he's had 4 months' notice, 3 months' notice. They're boxers, they're athletes, they're meant to be in shape.
Biggest fight of his life as
Biggest fight of his life. What an opportunity! He's obviously a wealthy man, but we hear so often they fight for pride. They fight for these straps and they fight to be recognised as the best in their division. He has that opportunity. There's no doubt he becomes the biggest star in boxing if he finds a way of beating AJ. And AJ is very beatable, in my opinion. I think he's beatable. I think someone like Tyson Fury would manipulate him and position him where he takes every advantage away. Can Parker do that? I don't think so. He's not shown us anything yet that suggests he has the ring craft to make it an awkward night. So I think if you take Joshua down the stretch, he's very muscle bound. He's not gonna be up on his toes after 7 or 8 rounds. We've seen him gas. I've seen him gas. He's been there. So we've witnessed it. Yeah. It does have potential to be a great heavyweight scrap. I just think too big, too strong, too powerful. I'm not sure Parker has the ring craft to keep him off him long enough in the middle rounds. I think Dillian Whyte against Lucas Brown will be a much better scrap.
I agree with you. I think AJ needs to take his time in the early going, see what Parker's got to offer, but I think gradually he will break him down. I think AJ's very persistent. He does often come forward in straight lines, but he has that second phase of attack. Comes forward, backs off, comes again and again.
He's one of the few heavyweights with a double jab.
Yeah, he's a relentless guy and he knows how to open an opponent up, at least on Parker's level. Yeah. So I think I agree with you. I think if I had to make a prediction, I'd go for AJ definitely within the distance, maybe middle rounds.
Yeah, I think he eventually starts to hurt him, and then he's Samoan background. Parker, we know their sort of warrior code, but he's a huge strong man, AJ.
His warrior code could actually be to his detriment.
Yeah, I think if he tries to be too brave, and if he thinks he's been hit by anybody that's going to hit as hard as Joshua, he's in for a big shock. And like you say, if he approaches this fight where he thinks he can walk AJ down, this could be over in a round. Yeah. If AJ lands clean at any point, and especially if Parker's aggressive and gets caught square on, it could be an early night. I don't think he'll be that stupid. I think he will try he will try. Everybody wants to try and take AJ late because they do believe with that muscle mass he will slow down a bit. There won't be as much pop on his punches, and then they might be able to get to him. But easier said than done. I certainly wouldn't fancy the job. No.
Parker's a big underdog with the bookies for a reason. So.
Yeah, exactly, and they very rarely get it wrong. We've discussed this many times before. The bookies are you don't meet too many poor bookies, and they've got it about right with the odds. I think AJ's a right favourite, and it wouldn't be a massive shock on the terms of Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson kind of shocks, but it would be a big shock if Parker got the win.
Agreed. Well, you've heard what we think about the big fight on March 31st. We'd like to hear what you think, so please leave your comments about Joshua Parker and your predictions below, and we'll see you on Fight Night.